This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 608.
I program my own computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology.
Why? Hello, everybody. This is Adam Silvey, host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right. First and foremost, upcoming events. We have one next weekend, WordPress and Femenino, October 25th. That is in Malaga, Spain. Malaga. Yeah, Malaga. It is actually one of my favorite places on the planet. I was there, quick side note, I was there traveling Europe 27 years ago before I got married. And by chance, we just wound up in Malaga, Spain for an amazing festival, just random happenstance, got told to go there and we did. It was amazing and beautiful. I'm sure it's changed a lot, but it was one of my favorite places on the planet. So if you're there, go and hang out and have a great time and cobblestone paths and whatnot. I'm sure it's changed. But anyway, there you go. That is it for upcoming events. Moving on, segment one in the news. Nothing really overly newsy this week. I was like poking around the interwebs and didn't really find anything to share here. So I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna move right on to segment two, the meat potatoes of this week's episode. So today I'm talking about one of the hardest parts of running a business. Knowing when to say yes, no, or that dangerous in between, maybe. If you're a freelancer, designer, developer, running your own agency, these little words can make or break your sanity, your schedule, your bottom line, all the things, right? So I want to break down a few examples from my own experience, the times I've said yes and regretted it, no and celebrated, and maybe some of those, lessons that were expensive, but well worth it from the business perspective. I mean, just from become wiser and wiser over the years. So with that, I have, I believe, about seven for the first and another 7 for the yeses and nos and some maybes in there. All right. So in no specific order, as I always say on these lists that I put out, when to say yes. First and foremost, the project aligns with your skills and stretches you just enough, because if a client project pushes you and your boundaries in a way that excites you, that's a strong yes. Growth happens at the edge of your comfort zone, is the quote, right? Not miles past it. If you're confident you can deliver while learning something new, then say yes. Just make sure you're not learning on the client's dime. I mean, some people do that a lot. I try not to do that entirely, okay? You don't want to, because I don't know, it's a weird feeling for me to do that. If you're learning something new, it's one thing, but not all of it, okay? So yes, if it aligns with your skills and stretches you just enough, okay? Number two, it's a repeat client who respects your process. Yeah, when you've worked with someone before and they pay on time, communicate clearly, and let you do your thing, that, my friend, is gold. Saying yes to the good relationships is good business. Plus, of course, repeat clients often need less handholding. They just understand it, which means a lot more efficiency and profit, okay? Number three, the timeline and budget are realistic. If the stars align, decent money, clear deadlines, achievable scope, don't overthink it. Just say yeah. These projects make your calendar and your bank account happy. A yes here is like just, I don't know, it's icing on the cake. It's like they get it, you like it, and it's just all, everything, the stars align. That's a saying yes to your sanity, really. Okay. Number four, the client actually listened during discovery. Now, if they can articulate what they need, understand their audience, and reference something beyond, I just need it to pop, well, yeah, that's a yes. It means you'll be collaborating, and collaboration's key with someone who values your expertise. That makes the project all that much more enjoyable and often more successful. So keep that in mind. Number five, it fits your long-term goals or portfolio vision. Okay, so say yes when the project helps you build towards where you want to go. Maybe it's a niche, a skill, a case study, a strategic yes, or multiple of those can add up over time. Every gig doesn't have to be about money. Sometimes it's about positioning. If you want to focus on a specific, vertical market, it's worth it for the long term. Okay. Number six, it's for a cause, brand, or mission you believe in. Now, I don't want to get all woo-woo here, but when the project resonates personally with you, maybe it's environmental, community focus, or aligns with your own values, that emotional connection can keep you motivated. Just make sure passion doesn't lead you to free work, because that is not what we want here, unless it's intentional. If you want to give away or if you want to donate your time to a cause, that's up to you, but keep that in mind, or keep in mind that from the business perspective, it may not help the bank account, okay? So, and number 7, the last one here for yeses, is sometimes it's not the data, it's the gut says this feels right. It's instinct. Your internal radar says this client's good people, go with that, trust it. I don't want to get too woo-woo like I said, but you can kind of sense that, right? You just have that intuition that you understand how people are, or they're going to be. It's a good thing. So yes, if your gut feels like it's right, then say yes. All right, now moving on to when to say no. Okay. And I love no to me is one of my favorite things to say as the agency owner sometimes. Well, often, because it's just so empowering. Anyway, okay. Number 1, the budget screams exposure opportunity. Now, if a client leads with, we don't have much money, but you'll get the exposure, that's a solid no. No, sorry, can't do it. You can't pay bills with exposure. Every no to unpaid work opens up time for paid, respectful opportunities. If you say yes to you'll get exposure, yeah, what are you giving up in exchange for that? I would say sanity right off the bat. Top of mind, it's not worth it. We've all done it to some extent when we start out maybe, but no more. All right, number 2, the scope is fuzzy or keeps shifting before you even sign that contract. If the project already smells like scope creep before the contract, that's a preview of chaos to come. Don't convince yourself it's going to get better once we start. It's not. Run politely but swiftly away from the opportunity, okay? Number 3, the client has red flag energy. Now, I've done a few podcasts about red flags in the past couple years, well, many years ago. It's been a while, but you just know right away. Late replies, rude tones, dismissive of your expertise, those are all signs that you're chasing more than just deliverables later. Remember, a difficult client doesn't suddenly become easier after the deposit clears. Say no early, your mental health will thank you, okay? Number 4, you're already at capacity. Yeah, you're busy and you're good to go. So overcommitting is a slow form of self-sabotage. Saying no to one project means saying yes to quality, sleep, sanity, etc. Burnout does not make you more money. It just makes you hate Mondays faster. It's true. So if you're at capacity, say no and or raise your prices and then schedule it further out. But don't take it on just because you're at capacity right now and you're afraid to lose out on the work. Okay. Number 5, the project type doesn't fit your service offering. This is one of my favorites. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should, okay? If it's outside your zone, let's say you're building apps using React, if you're a coder, but you don't do that. As a designer, it's not something you're a coder, not a designer. Or someone's asking for heavy SEO, but you're a back-end dev. It's okay to say no, stick to your lane, refer it out, and earn some goodwill. Partner with somebody else, but don't take it on yourself. But do the referral even over the subcontracting, because if you take it on yourself and it doesn't work out, even as a sub, you are responsible for that. So it's not worth it in my opinion. Okay. Number 6, the deadline is unreasonable. This is a tough one. I mean, not a tough one, easy to say no. When someone says, we need this by Friday, and it's already Wednesday, that's adorable, but no, I'm sorry. Deadlines that crush the process, lead to stress, sloppy work, not worth it. Just move on. Say, nope, can't do it. Sorry. And number 7, you just don't trust them. Again, back to the woo, back to the gut. Something's just off. Too many excuses, weird payment terms, maybe communication is a little just wonky. It's another red flag. It's easy to say no on that if you just have a weird feeling about trust. Or my other favorite one here is, well, my last developer, I had a problem with them. Well, or they've been through multiple developers or agencies. Why have they gone through 2 or 3 people in the last 18 months? That is a red flag that you don't necessarily have to trust. Okay. And finally, when to say maybe. Okay. This is a tough one. There's only 5 in this area here. You need more information. Sometimes that initial inquiry doesn't have enough details to make the call. That's where the maybe buys you some time. You can ask better questions. It's not quite a stall tactic. It's just professional, professional discernment. You get to think about it and inquire and do a little bit more discovery and scope. So it's you just need more info because you don't have it all yet. And then you can make that decision on a yes or a no. Okay. Number 2, it could be a foot in the door. If the project is small, but connected to a larger potential client or a long-term relationship, the maybe lets you weigh the short-term pain against the long-term gain, but don't assume for future work, because that whole promise of there's more work to come goes back to, I don't know, an unreasonable deadline or exposure, right? That kind of thing. All right, number 3, the project excites you, but you're unsure about the timing. Yeah, again, you might want to take it because it's something you really have passion behind, but the workload, again, is crazy. You're just full at capacity. So a maybe here allows you to negotiate a later start date or phase the work in slowly, but you need to be honest with yourself and with the client. Say you're excited, but you're just too busy. So again, that's a maybe. Number 4, you're testing a new offer or a new niche, vertical market. So if you're exploring new pricing, workflow, services, the maybe lets you pause long enough to see if this client fits your experiment. Sometimes a small test project can lead to some more clarity, confirms that you never want to do that type of work again. I mean, case in point, when I was doing photography work, I did 2 bar mitzvahs, 1 bar, 1 bat mitzvah. This was decades ago, 25 years ago, when I was more photographer than web developer, agency owner. And I know after 2 of them, I will never do those again. It took me 2 experiences over a 3-year gap between the 2 to know that is not the niche I wanted to focus on whatsoever. Same thing happens here, right? So you can test a new offer or a new vertical market and then figure out down the line if it's something you want to offer again. So I digress. All right, number 5, you're emotionally or mentally drained. Yeah, this is tough. If you're burned out, it's that time of year right now. Everything feels like a no. Even the good things, a maybe gives you permission to pause, recover, maybe reassess with a clearer head. You can't make smart business decisions when you're running on fumes. It's true. We've all been there. I've been there. I've shared with that here in the podcast. The maybe here is just a matter of, I don't know. It's hard to put into words on this section, but burnout is real, and depression and sadness. I mean, I don't want to get too deep here on this again, but nonetheless, maybe here, if you're just overwhelmed, is a solid approach. So you're like, maybe I have time to do that. You may not want to say it that way to the client or to the lead, but you can take a break there and say, you know what, maybe I'll have time in Q2 of 2026. That's one way to look at it. Okay. So there you have it. The power of yes, no, and maybe. Yes can open doors, but can also open the floodgates. A no protects your time, your boundaries, and your business. And the maybe, well, it's not a no, and it's not just the no in disguise. It's a sign you need more info before deciding. And at the end of the day, how you answer determines what kind of business and life you're going to build. So say yes to what excites you, no to what drains you, and a maybe only if you're being strategic about it. That's my take on all of that. All right, hope that helps. If you have any other insights there, I would love to talk to you about it as well. All right, moving on, segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This week's tip is to update your PHP version. Why, you ask? Because PHP obviously runs WordPress. And if you're on PHP 7x or 5.x, you're missing out on performance gains, and you're probably running a security risk. And recently I had a client that was running two clients, 2 different versions of PHP. One was 5x, one was 7x. That's why I bring them both up. And sure, a lot of older hosts are still using 7.4 because it still works. But it reached end of life back in November 2022. So that is a big deal. No more security patches, no more bug fixes, et cetera, et cetera. Difference between PHP 7 and PHP 8.2 or 8.3 is massive. 30 to 50% faster page load times, lower CPU usage. I just looked these up real quick. So check your WordPress dashboard, go to Tools, Site Health, Info Server. It'll tell you your PHP version, or ask your web host to confirm. Always always back up your site before you do the update. Check the plugin and theme compatibility. That'll support PHP 8. Most major ones do now. Test it on staging, as I would recommend. But yeah, update your PHP version. Please, 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 please. It is just night and day in how things react and how things are just faster and more secure. So do that. Okay, that's the tip of the week. And it's free to do, just your time. So, okay, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email, adam@KitchensinkWP.com, or use that speak pipe function on the website. If you want to support the show, you can do that. Become a Patreon, KitchensinkWP.com/Patreon. You can also buy me a coffee on the homepage. You can sponsor the show, fill out a form. I'll get back to you. We'll go from there. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right? Bye-bye.